Hi and welcome to another Carpenter Tutoring tutorial. I'm Amy and today we're going to talk about how to simplify order of operations problems that include variables. And we've already taken a look at some order of operations problems that include just numbers, and in that case we're able to simplify the expression with just one value at the very end. But in this case, since we have expressions with variables but no equal sign, no way to find what that variable actually represents, we're going to end up likely with two terms, one that's just a number, and one that has to do with the variable. We'll see how this pans out, and we'll also see how some of our order of operations changes based on this. Let's take a look at our first problem. So we have 9a plus 10 times the quantity 6a minus 1. Now our order of operations tells us to start by looking inside the parentheses. We have 6a minus 1 inside those parentheses. The difficulty here is that I don't know what a is. So even though there are some different operations happening inside these parentheses, I can't actually execute them because I don't know the value of a. This means that as far as simplifying the expression inside the parentheses goes, I'm stuck. I can't actually do anything to take 1 away from the value 6a because I don't know what that value is. I also can't take the 1 away from just the 6 because 6a and 1 are not like terms. They don't have the exact same ending, meaning 1 ends with the variable a, 1's just a number, and since they don't match exactly, I'm not able to subtract them, so I'm stuck. What I can do, though, is distribute this 10 into both parts of this expression. Because 10 is on the outside of the parentheses, right next to those parentheses, it shows that 10 is being multiplied by the entire quantity. And instead of multiplying the 10 by the whole quantity, I can show that work and bring the 6a minus 1 out of parentheses by multiplying the 10 into each part of that expression. So this will become 9a plus 60a minus 10. And again, I got 60a because 10 times 6a is 60a. And I got minus 10 because 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. Now that I have the 60a and negative 10 freed from the parentheses, I can start combining like terms. So I see a couple different terms in this problem. I have terms that include the a and terms that do not. The term that doesn't include the a is just the negative 10. So there's nothing that I have to do to combine together other values with negative 10 because it's the only term of its kind. So I know I'm going to end up with this minus 10 as part of my final answer. Now the 9a plus 60a I can do something with. When I combine these like terms, I'm going to be combining together their coefficients, the 9 and the 60. The a comes along for the ride. So when I add these together, I'm really adding together 9 and 60, the two coefficients that I have, and both of those then are multiplied by a. Well, 9 plus 60 is 69, so I can rewrite this as 69a minus 10. Now that I've combined all the like terms that I can, and there's nothing that I can do to combine the 69a and the negative 10, I know that this expression has been simplified as far as it can go. Let's take a look at the next one. We have negative 4 plus 7 times the quantity 1 minus 3m. We're going to get into the same situation here as we had with our last problem, in that I do see that I have some expressions in parentheses, but there's nothing that I can do to actually solve the operations inside those parentheses because I don't have like terms. 1 and 3m are not like terms, so I'm not able to subtract them. What I'll need to do instead is look at the 7 outside of that quantity and distribute it into both parts of this expression, changing the multiplication from happening to the entire group to happening just to each term inside that group. So the negative 4 stays the same. Then we'll have plus 7 because 7 times 1 is 7, and then minus 21m, because 7 times negative 3m is negative 21m. Again, I can take a look now at any different terms that I have and see if there are some that I might be able to combine. I do see that I have two number terms, and I have just one variable term. I'll be able to combine those number terms together, but the variable term is all on its own, so it's already simplified as far as it can go. So we can bring this negative 21m down below. Now for the numbers, I can actually do this addition. So negative 4 plus 7 is 3. So my simplified expression is 3 minus 21m. Again, we've gotten this to a point where I can't subtract the 21m from the 3 because they're not like terms. So this would be my final answer, or my greatest simplification. Let's take a look at one more example. So we have negative 7 times the quantity n plus 3 minus 8 times the quantity 1 plus 8n. Again, as I look at this problem, I see that I do have some grouping symbols that I would start with, but as I look inside those grouping symbols, I see that I once again do not have like terms. So I'm not actually able to combine the values within those parentheses. Instead, what I'll have to do is distribute out the numbers or coefficients in front of those quantities. So for the first group, I'll distribute the negative 7, and it is important to remember that this negative should come along with the 7. For the second group, I'll distribute out the negative 8, again keeping that negative sign with the value that I'm distributing. When I do this, I'll get negative 7n, because negative 7 times n is negative 7n, minus 21, because negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. And then we can do this with the second group as well. So negative 8 times 1 gives me negative 8. And then lastly, negative 8 times 8n would be negative 64n. Now I can look at my terms. I see that I have two number terms and I have two variable terms. So I'll actually be able to combine each of these. We could start anywhere that we wanted to, but I'll just start with the variables. So we have negative 7n and negative 64n. This means I really have negative 7 minus 64, and then times n. Well, negative 7 minus 64 is negative 71. So really, I have negative 71n. And then negative 21 minus 8 would be negative 29. Now I've gotten my answer down to just two terms, negative 71n and negative 29. There's nothing more that I can do to combine them because they're not like terms, so this would be the simplification of my expression. Well, I hope this has been helpful, working through a couple problems together and seeing how order of operations can change when we have variables entering into the expressions. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to let me know in the comments what you'd like to see discussed or any other problems you'd like to see worked out. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.